So we want to give you guys today some of our top tips, just a few of those secrets that got us to this place, and how we monetize from Instagram and we put our brand into Instagram and make a shit ton of money, basically.
Yeah. So I think I guess we'll do a tip each. One of the biggest tips that I found that got me definitely the traction is if I put a picture that doesn't really have any thing, it's just like good eye candy or not good eye candy, I don't get that much engagement. But if I put out a post which is giving something of value, like a motivational quote or a piece of content that teaches something, like my followers jump up. So that for me worked really, really well. And I just found something and I just kept doing it over and over and over and over and over again. And I started posting about 3 to 5 times a day when I first started. And that's what got me to my first 100,000 followers on Instagram. So
I think that's incredible. I think that's amazing, just knowing your audience straight away. So my biggest tip, my main thing to say is focus on the time of what you're putting up. So know your peak times. I'm just going to give you a little word of advice. In a normal world, when things are functioning and we are usually going to out at the house, etc., not during this time that we're faced with right now, the peak times to post, I find Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. and a Sunday at 4 p.m. And I've sort of studied those algorithms for many years now, and where we are at the moment is the peak time. So that's your local time. Posting any time on a Sunday really is amazing. Saturdays are never that great. I don't know why, they just aren't that great, but a Sunday is ideal and a Wednesday evening is ideal. So I always save my juicy posts, like you were saying just then, that the best posts for those 2 slots.
Oh my God, that's so true. Every time I post on a Saturday, like the engagement's so low, but on a Sunday, it's like all these likes, all these comments.
No, absolutely. I think Sunday is the day when everybody just seems to be on their social media and ready to go. Perhaps on a Friday, everyone's been out. A Saturday is their first day of the weekend as such. And so they go out with their folks, with their family, with their wife, with their children. They go out and do something. So yeah, tell us another one. Give me another one. I love it.
Okay, another tip that I find that works really, really well is Instagram Live. If you want to create a brand, you've got to first create a demand. We did that by putting ourselves out there. So when you do an Instagram Live, what happens is you get people that jump on. Now, the notifications that go out peak and everybody starts watching, but then the views start to come down. So one thing that I do to keep the views up is it's not like when you post on Facebook Live, you can put something there that tells people what it's about. When you go live on Instagram, it's just you with a live button. So when they go on, they don't know what it's about. So you have to keep repeating yourself. So a really good tip that I found is if you post, so if I'll put in something like, in this Instagram Live, we're going to show you how to start your business with no money. And I'll take that title, I'll comment on my own comment, and then I'll pin it. So when people go in, they go, oh, that's what this is about. And so that holds retention. Now, if you want more eyeballs, people comment the questions in the comments, but if you comment the questions in the question mark and you bring a question out and it shows up, it will then boost the eyeballs by about 20 to 35%. So if your viewer count starts dropping, you need to take a question, it jumps back up by about 25% is good, and you keep doing that. So my Instagram Lives by 35 minutes, I would have had around 18 to 20,000 people that have watched live. So that's how you
incredible. That's incredible. I love that. I definitely have, found lives are a really great place to engage with my audience. That is a really good point. That's led me on to talk about what I was saying about building your brand. So I didn't build my brand a traditional way where, you would build it, put your website, advertise. I did it a whole different way. The world that we live in today is no longer vertical. We now see it as horizontal. Yeah. And everything that we view is coming from this angle. And it is all about tapping into your market. And how do you do that? You build your platform first. You build your whole platform, which is your followers, which is your database, and you build that up, and then you inject the brand into it. So you first have to get that big following, and then you can sell them anything. You can put anything that you believe in into that, anything at all. And people buy from people. So once I got to the following that I'm at, anything that I was promoting was just starting to go viral. And that was incredible because it was getting the hits and the audience, the sales. So it was a win-win for absolutely everyone. Always make sure what you are offering your customers, your clients, is valuable. Are you offering more value to them than they are paying you if they are paying you for something? And if they're not for free, then you're offering them more value than they're getting anyway. Because if you're going to be investing in something like a piece of clothing that week, then why not save that money instead at the end of the week? Invest in something for yourself, in a self-development course, or, you know, a course like you and I. We offer so many different courses, business and marketing and Instagram and all these different areas.
And that leads me nicely into this next one, which is, how do we monetize, right? So, okay, now we've got these followers, now we've got all these likes and comments, but how does that equate to money? And I think this is one of the biggest things, and that's actually one of the reasons why I wrote the book Business Hack, because there's so many different ways to monetize. And I think the way I've done it is very different to a lot of other people. I mean, yes, we do offer courses. Actually, one of my students who attended my last event, she's a photographer, and people always ask, oh, you know, she's an amazing, super talented. So she actually sells an online photography course. So that is one way that you can monetize. So I monetize by using programs. So I get so many messages a day saying, John, you know, I just saw your post on this. Can we hire you for an hour to do a talk to, you know, my organization? Or can we get some coaching? You can coach my CMO. So actually, one of the ways I monetize, where the real money is I find a lot of companies that are attracted to me based on the message and content that I put out, and I take a stake in the company. So there was a supplement company recently who saw a lot of my work, saw that I was, you know, okay at what I did, and we consulted with them, they paid me, and then afterwards said, John, why don't you become a stakeholder in the company? So then I took 5% of that company, which is not a lot, but for me, it's like if I've got all these different companies now, then it's kind of like I've got a stake in every single company. So that's one of the ways I monetize, is by finding companies, consulting, charge a fee, and then I take a stake. Second way is I get a lot of speaking engagements. And every time I speak, my speaker fee is £55,000 just to speak. So that's another way I do it. And the third way is I have software. So a lot of people say to me, John, how do you start an online business that makes recurring income? So I invested £3 million into the software, and then people then use my software. But I don't actually sell. If you look at my page, I don't actually sell on my page. So it's very different to the traditional influencer model of how I monetize. And it'd be interesting to see how you actually monetize using your different methodologies.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I think, you know, it's so good to hear from other people who are in similar fields. But what we're showing you guys actually out there listening right now is that you can apply our tips into any area that you're doing. It doesn't have to be a particular area. It can be anything, and you can make it happen. And you just have to stick to your models, stick to what we teach you, stick to this stuff, and you will get to the top. There is no other way, right? I mean, that's like one of those things. So I'll give you one more tip. I would say hashtagging is so key. Don't hashtag in your actual caption. Hashtag in your first comment. So into your first comment, attach your 30, I think it is, hashtags that you're allowed, and make these things not the things that you'd expect. So people often hashtag girl, boy. Post just going to get lost. It's all about reaching the top post in any hashtag. That's why we do it, because if it's a hashtag which people are going to be searching up quite often, you want to be in the top. That way you're going to get noticed. How do you get to the top post? You go to the explore page. How do you get to the top post? In a briefer sense, once you're in that and you've worked out how to get there, you can be the top post for smaller things. So I teach people how to get to the top post in the biggest searchable hashtags, and that's where your money's at. But if you want to use the smaller ones for now, you'll still grow. You will still grow. The way you do that is by choosing something that has a lower number of posts for that hashtag. It may only have 20,000 posts. And if you've got a 20,000 following, and it's got 20,000 posts, you're probably likely to make that top post. That's the way I work it out. So, or you multiply it by 3. So if you've got 20,000 following, the algorithm I play with is that it would be times 3, and you'll reach the top post if there were 60,000 posts in a particular hashtag and you've got 20,000 following, you're probably going to reach the top post if your engagement is what it should be for the following that you have, which is around 10% on average. And so hitting that top post is where it's all at. And that was my final tip for today.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to give one last tip as well. And I think this one, for me, I use this thing called raise your hand marketing. And the way it works is people hate being sold to, but they love to buy, right? So these are two contradicting things. Okay, it all depends on calls you're trying to sell you stuff and like, oh, come on, trying to sell me, come on, just sell me, right? People hate being sold to, but they love to go and buy stuff. So if we take that methodology and we go, okay, let's do that with Instagram. So how do we sell to people if they don't want to be sold to? So I use this concept called raise your hand marketing, meaning I'm only going to sell to you if you want to be sold to. So here's what I do. I'll take an Instagram story. And what I'll do is I'll say something like, hey, by the way, I've got a new book that's come out that teaches you how to start an online business and membership site. If you're interested to know how to do that, click yes, right? So then I put a poll up there. So they click yes or no. And what I want to do is I want to get everybody that clicks yes, and then it'll have all of the different yes and no's there. So I know everybody's clicked yes and everybody's clicked no. So all the people that click yes, I use a piece of messaging software that will message every single one of these people and say, oh, by the way, here's a link to the book, or here's a link to a video. You might go to a video first, and then we'll create what we call a sales funnel, and that will funnel people through to be able to buy products and services. So that's that one. You generate leads straight away, you make income straight away, and it's highly scalable. So that's my last tip of the day.
That is such a good tip, John. I love giving tips with you. It's always so much fun. Brilliant. Well, we hope you guys have enjoyed our brief session today, giving you guys some of the top tips that we did and implemented into building our businesses online, into our social media.